I think what binds us here together is a shared belief that at every level of government, people really deserve high performance and constantly improving and innovative leadership and results, right? None of this is any good at all if we're not getting results. So since my team and I entered office, we started right in January in 2011, we've been focused on creating a culture of continuous improvement and innovation in city government. I come from the private sector. As I frequently say, I'm just a business person or entrepreneur that happens to be mayor. So I've went through 4 transformations, if you will, of taking organizations to a high performance level in the private sector. We said, let's do it in the public sector as well. And people in the public sector respond just as well, if not better, than the private sector. So government is a service business, and it can be designed to delight its customers, just like any business can. And we do this because we believe in government. We're not one of these groups that says we want efficient government, we want smart government. But government plays a very important role in all of our lives. If we're able to put forth the time and effort to improving our results for our citizens, what higher calling can we have? And we all have the same amount of time, so why not take that time to be the best in the world at what we do? That's what we're going to tell you a little bit here during this day and a half. So our work is about delivering what we say ever improving results, constantly spinning the PDCA wheel, Plan, Do, Check, Act wheel. I say this is not a social experiment, right? It's about results. And that means whether we're working on preventive care with high volume 911 call centers by putting nurses at senior centers so that they don't have to take an ambulance to an emergency room, or involving citizens in testing air quality and being citizen scientists, and you're going to hear from one of those later today. We're not just making incremental improvements, but what we're trying to do is fundamentally alter both the nature of our relationship with citizens, but more importantly, the level of trust that citizens have with their government as well. As you know, trust in government is questioned from time to time these days, and you don't have to look too far than most of the headlines that come out of Washington, D.C., and just even makes us that are in the business, so to speak, scratch our heads and say, how can you be this dysfunctional? But people at the local level expect a lot more. A recent nationwide poll done by Zogby found that between city, state, or federal government, those polled trusted their city government most to do a good job. And that obviously, many of us are from city government, is the government that's closest to the people. And it wasn't just by a little percentage amount. 38% of people trusted their city or town government, followed by 28% with their state, and then 19% trusted their federal government. So the belief in the usefulness of government and its various reason for being, why we exist, is on us. And I look at that not just as a sacred trust, but I think it's pretty exciting too. We can really help a lot of people realize their potential. Now, without that trust, we're in trouble. Trust is built from competence, it's built from character, and in this group, I can say it's built from repeatable processes and systems at the same time. Trust to us is the basis for building relationships, and I think those relationships that we develop, that's really the magic in a city, and it's the magic because it drives further citizen engagement and the feeling of ownership that you have in a successful city when our citizens say, the success of this city is on me too. I've got to get involved and not just be a spectator or a cynic or a critic from the couch. And so this is really powerful stuff when it comes alive and you start seeing all these unanticipated things starting to happen in your city because people care and they see that we're on a journey to improved results for our city and more importantly then the better society for all of us that results from that. In Louisville, we go about the work of developing internal excellence in delivering government services around a guiding principle that we have, and that is the belief that the transformation is everyone's job. Okay, and when I say transformation to high performance, transformation where there's total participation. And in this context, I'm speaking in transformation and total participation for all the folks that work for Metro government. We have in our city about 6,000 direct employees, another 4,000 that are indirect, so about 10,000 people or so are involved with this mission. So the transformation is everybody's job, okay? Now, when I say job, it's not the job, unfortunately, in some ways that folks think about what a job is, kind of boring, functional, daily work. But we have a much more exciting and empowering definition of the word job. So everybody's job consists of three parts. The daily work part of a job, which is what most people think about, I'm an accounts payable clerk or something like that. That's daily work. But then the other aspect of job is continuous improvement. How can you be the best in the world at what you do? And the third part of the job is breakthrough work or innovation work. Those times when you get a whack on the side of the head and you can have significantly improved results for your job. So when it comes to being part of the transformation, nobody can say, that's not my job. And I'm sure we hear that from time to time. If the job encompasses all of those characteristics, it's everybody's job. So this framework of the job of daily work, continuous improvement, and breakthrough work, innovation, is evident in the structure of this summit as well. So on the agenda, you can see the breakout sessions are all organized around the three parts of this job. And everybody puts a percentage of their time in those three buckets. The higher up you are in the organizational chart, the more amount of time you should be spending on innovation and continuous improvement. But everybody should be focused on this. If you're part of our public works department, you might be spending 90% of your time on daily work and 8% on continuous improvement, but you also have opportunity to contribute to innovation and breakthrough from time to time throughout the year as well. Now, if you don't have the chief executive in your cities and your states driving improvement and innovation, your efforts are going to be limited, frankly, because it has to be clear that the chief executive and the leadership team are driving change and the central values for the transformation to take place. The processes for delivering excellence in the workplace must be explicitly designed so people share assumptions about how we're going to improve and all the tools that are necessary. So for us, we start with our planning process, like many people have, but it's quite robust, and all this is on the web for you to see. So we start with the planning process. Then it's our teaming process. How do we work and organize in teams together to achieve our planning process? The use of our Louisville performance improvement system that we created. It's a combination of stat-based programs that we see in government quite a bit, but then the private sector improvement techniques like Lean, Six Sigma, and project management. Then the innovation techniques are super important as part of this journey as well. And then, of course, the training we provide to accelerate our internal capacity to guide our good work. A lot of people say to me, it really must be difficult to have government employees embrace change. And I said, that has not been my experience at all. What we found here is that people were underinvested in. They did not receive a lot of training other than just functional training, but they didn't receive training to kind of develop their human capacity in a broader sense, both in the workplace and outside of the workplace. So the response from our employees at Louisville Metro to this journey we're on has been on par, if not above, any private sector mission that I've received. So it's about believing in your people, and you have to invest in them. And leadership has got to drive the change process as well. The transformation is everybody's job, but leadership has got to be at the top. And we have to recognize when we go through these transformations, the 262 process is taking place. And by 262, I mean whether it's a big transformation or a small change, 20% of the people are going to stand up and cheer and say, finally, they get it. 20% of the people are going to say, let's wait that idiot out until he loses the next election. And then 60% of the people are in the middle just saying, which way are we going to go here? So it's the job of leadership to direct them toward goodness and light and away from evil and darkness. And as you start seeing the results and sharing the successes like we are here today, people say, wow, this works. I better get on board. And soon that 60% in the middle starts moving to the 30% good, 40% good. And then as you get toward that, everybody says, boy, we got to get on. Resources like personnel, training, education, promotion, and then we have to pull and amplify those to achieve our goals and then build belief in the goals and the work system results. This stuff really does produce a better workplace and a better city. And then successes have got to be diffused so people can see that, and then accomplishments have got to be recognized to encourage further good work. And you'll see some examples of that throughout this conference. So this conference was designed to illustrate all of those principles. So I encourage everybody, when you're here today learning about the good stuff we're all going to be talking about, also observe how the conference was put together and ask yourself, how could you take something like this home to your cities to accelerate further change as well? We pride ourselves on performance improvement in the city. In fact, I'm going to brag a little bit here. Our Office for Performance Improvement just received the American Society for Public Administration's Center for Accountability and Performance Organizational Leadership Award. Good job to them. Louisville's not really in the South. We're not in the Midwest. We kind of have an identity crisis here, so we just say we're Louisville, okay? But we pride ourselves on hospitality and compassion here as well. So in addition to learning a lot, I hope that you're going to experience a lot of great hospitality. Be sure to take in some of our local food. National Geographic yesterday named us the top city in the world for local food, which we really appreciate that. We've got a really strong locavore movement here. And then bourbon is a local food group in Kentucky as well. In fact, 95% of the world's bourbon comes from Kentucky, and the other 5% is counterfeit. So don't drink anything but Kentucky bourbon. I want to thank governing, Dennis and the team, for all y'all do to spread best practices across the public sector, but especially for co-hosting this first event here today. Let's give a round of applause to Governing Magazine, eRepublic. I also want to thank our Office for Performance Improvement and their dynamic leader, Teresa Reno Weber. When I said, hey, how about if we have a conference on innovation and continuous improvement, she's like, yeah, let's roll. How are we going to make this happen? So thank you, Teresa, for stepping up and pulling this event together with governing. There's a couple other of our key partners here I want to thank. I want to thank Katie Duda with Bloomberg Philanthropies as well. They've been a critical partner with us on our journey of innovation. The Brookings Institute has been invaluable. The Arnold Foundation, Results for America, and City Foundation for their critical support, not just for us, but for many, many cities in this room. So thank you to all of y'all for contributing to a better city and better cities around the country.